All right, good morning. This is the routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina, covering Monday today, the 28th, through Sunday, August 3rd. And my name is Gail Hartfield, Senior Forecaster here at the National Weather Service, and let's get started. We're going to get started with some information about our radar outage we're expecting this week. Long story short is our technicians need to do some work on the radar that requires an outage period. It's unavoidable. It has to be done with all Doppler weather radars across the Weather Service. So there's some information here and you can read it at your leisure, but in general, we're expecting some downtime this Wednesday and Thursday, perhaps lasting into Friday. So be prepared for that. All right, we'll get started here with today. We've got an extreme heat warning continues in effect. Is anyone around here if you were in the area this weekend, you experienced a lot of hot weather and high heat indices, and got some reports of a lot of people needing to go to the emergency room for heat illnesses. So pretty serious situation here that we've been experiencing. So that continues today. As you see there, the area in pink is under an extreme heat warning, and a heat advisory is in effect for other areas in orange until 8 o'clock tonight. So we are expecting continued dangerously hot conditions in this heat wave. This is our second major heat wave of the summer. Our heat indices are expected to get up to 113 degrees across the warning area there today. So, you know, this long duration heat, and we do get comments occasionally, oh, it's summertime, it's supposed to be hot. That is true. This is unusual heat though. Our normal high temperatures around here are in the upper 80s to lower 90s. And when you start talking about upper 90s to near 100 degrees, coupled with this kind of humidity, that can be very dangerous and can sneak up on you. Heat illnesses are often called the silent killer just because it does sneak up on you. It's particularly vulnerable populations can succumb quickly to this heat, and even situationally vulnerable people, people who are working outdoors, you're going exercising, going for a run, whatever. You can succumb to heat illnesses pretty quickly, and it can come upon. So, you know, we're advising people to continue to be vigilant, spend as much time in the air conditioning as you can. If you don't have access to air conditioning, make sure you stay in the shade as much as possible, well-ventilated area, and obviously stay hydrated. We will continue with the heat through much of the middle part of this week, although it will be, and I hesitate to call it cooler, so we're going to call it slightly less hot on Tuesday. We do have a heat advisory in effect for the areas in orange you see there, and heat indices are going to be 105 to 109, so a few degrees better, still quite hot and still abnormally hot for this time of year. So again, with these multiple days in a row with minimal overnight relief, that can be problematic for heat illnesses. So continue to stay vigilant throughout the middle part of this week. Okay, now we're going to look at the upcoming weather pattern, the overall maps here. Looking at today, we do have some isolated to scattered showers and storms today over the last few days. Generally, our coverage has been limited by that upper level high pressure that's brought us the very hot weather. So in general, we'll start to see a little bit more typical showers and storms as we get into the middle part, especially later on this week. As I said, it'll continue unusually hot, abnormally hot through the middle part of this week. We will see isolated to scattered storms might bring a little bit of relief to those fortunate folks who get that over the next few days. Today will be a pretty good chance of showers and storms in the 20 to 30% range for most of the area. By the time we get to Tuesday, Wednesday, the chances are more suppressed to the south and southwestern portions like Triad area and areas in the Sandhills. By the time we get to Thursday and Friday, we do have an approaching cold front coming in from the north. That will bring increasing chances for showers and storms, especially Thursday, Friday, extending into Saturday across the south. So those will be our wettest days, Thursday, Friday. But that will bring us some welcome relief. We've got an actual cold front passage that will bring in, you see that map Friday, that high pressure area over Wisconsin and upper Michigan. And then you see it again on Sunday in that map there, settling in over New York and Pennsylvania. So as that ridges down, that's going to bring us some cooler air, and that front settles to our south. So that will be really nice. We'll see actually below normal temperatures by the time we get into Friday and into the weekend. Here is just a snapshot of the upcoming pattern as far as high temperatures. You can see the highs there in the mid 90s to near 100 across the area today, even into midweek. And then as we get into the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, things get a lot better, a lot more reasonable temperatures. And there on the right, those are our maximum heat index forecasts. Again, in the red, dangerous conditions through Thursday, continue to stay vigilant. And then as we get into the weekend, we'll see a lot of improvement there. Again, to pound in the heat, this is the experimental heat risk for the next few days. Heat risk kind of tells us how unusual the heat is. So it factors in how above normal the high temperatures are, what the low temperatures are as a measure of how much cooling you can get at night. And finally, this is correlated with historic heat health records. So if you see like purples and reds, that means that in the past, under these conditions, there's been a lot of heat illness reported at emergency departments. So this is a real world measure of how severe this heat is. So you can see today we've got the advisory and extreme heat warnings in effect. That's where you're seeing the reds and the purples. As we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, we get a little bit less coverage of that purple and a little more red. So still significant, still dangerous, maybe not quite so dire as we've seen this weekend. Okay, looking at our precipitation forecast, a little scattershot today in the next few days. Today we're looking at the best coverage kind of in the mountains, the far, far northwest, and particularly in areas along and east of the I-95 corridor and the coastal sections. We could see some pretty good coverage of showers and storms down east today, in the Morehead City area, down to New Bern and Wilmington, that area. As we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, coverage again shifts more toward the south and west, a little bit less coverage. So that heat will again be a problem through midweek. And then as we get into Thursday, a little bit better coverage, a little showers and storms, and then getting into Friday as well as the weekend. Early in the weekend, we should see some pretty good chances across our south. So we'll be on the lookout for that. The excessive rainfall outlook, we do have a small chance of marginal of excessive rainfall today. It's going to be mainly focused on those very slow moving showers and storms and heavy rainfalls possible with any of that activity. And as we get into Tuesday, that shifts more toward the south and west, and then nothing is expected. It's more in the mountains on Wednesday. Not seen here, but there is a risk of excessive rainfall Thursday and Friday. That is outlooked as well, and that should be more widespread. So that will be probably presenting a little bit greater threat for showers and storms across a larger area than we'll see today. Severe thunderstorm outlook, looking at just general thunder over the next few days. There are some indications that a strong to maybe severe storm is possible on Thursday, but please check back for more details. As you know, we'll be doing our Thursday briefing, so you'll get some more details there as well. But just check weather.gov and you'll see the details as we get closer to Thursday. And while severe weather is not likely at other days this week, isolated strong storms can't be ruled out. And of course, lightning will be a threat with any storm. So if you got outdoor activities, sporting events going on, you'll want to keep an eye on the sky and take a look at the radar. Looking at the tropical weather outlook, no activity is expected in the next few days. So we're blessedly a little quiet with tropics. So we hope that lasts, but you know, we're getting toward, as we get into August and September is our peak time. So we'll continue to keep our eyes open for that. Looking ahead to next week, 8 to 14 days, looks like near normal temperatures are favored along with near normal precipitation. So no indications of any extreme heat or extreme cold or extreme wet or dry conditions. So you can see there are normal temperatures this time of year, again, in the upper 80s to around 90, low 90s by the time we get to next week. And here is the experimental graphical weather hazardous weather outlook, and you can access that through that icon you see there on our homepage. But in general, you can see that extreme heat threat through Thursday, some indications of some orange for lightning, so higher coverage of showers and storms, and that risk of excessive rainfall. And then things start to improve as we get into the weekend, of course. All right, summing it all up, again, we've got upper level high pressure over the area that's bringing that hot weather, and that will continue to be the case through midweek. Approaching cold front will bring higher rain chances by Thursday, lasting through Friday, and a few strong storms are possible on Thursday. And that will bring us a break in the heat, and highs will be mostly back into the near to below normal for Friday through the weekend. And hazards, of course, the heat through midweek, and then the isolated heavy rainfall is possible today, and more widespread heavy rain threat is expected on Thursday or Friday. So that is all we have for the week. Feel free to contact us if you need any further information. We're here 24/7, 365 to help you out, so let us know. Thanks and have a great week.